I dropped the last box on his hardwood floor and his phone lit up on the coffee table. The notification flashed across the screen, bright and impossible to ignore. At least you have her out of the way now. My hands froze on the cardboard flaps. My boyfriend, Eric, was in the shower. I could hear the water running through the pipes of his downtown apartment, the same apartment where I'd spent almost every weekend for the past 11 months, the same place where he'd cooked me breakfast and taught me Danish phrases and made me believe I belonged here. I shouldn't have picked up his phone, I knew that, but my fingers moved before my brain could stop them, swiping across the screen. No password. He'd never hidden anything from me before. The messages loaded. His friend Marcus had sent that text 5 minutes ago. I scrolled up, my heart starting to hammer against my ribs. Marcus. So it's done? You finally ended it? Yeah, last night. Told her I wasn't sure about us. Man, about time. You've been stressing about this for weeks. I know, I feel like garbage, but what else could I do? At least you have her out of the way now. The shower turned off. I kept scrolling, faster now, my breath coming in short gasps. The thing is, she wants to stay here, got some job offer, starting talking about extending her visa. Jesus, you dodged a bullet there. Right? Like I was ever going to get serious with her. She's great and all, amazing in bed, honestly, but come on, long term? With someone from her background? I stumbled backward, my hip hitting the arm of his expensive leather couch. The same couch where we'd watched movies curled up together, where he'd told me he was falling for me. Does she know that's why you're ending it? Hell no. I told her I'm not sure about the relationship, that I don't want her staying here for me and then regretting it. Made it sound like I'm being noble or whatever. Smart. Better than the truth. What am I supposed to say? Sorry, I would never actually date someone like you, seriously? She'd lose it. The bathroom door opened. Steam poured out into the hallway. I dropped the phone back onto the table, my hands shaking so badly I nearly knocked over his coffee mug. Hey, you almost done packing? Eric called out. His voice was cheerful, casual, like he hadn't just shattered everything I thought we had. I stared at the phone, then at the boxes I'd filled with my clothes, my books, the little things I'd left here over the past year. A toothbrush, a hairdryer, slippers, evidence of a relationship I thought was real. Yeah, I managed. My voice sounded normal. I was surprised by that. Almost done. He walked into the living room wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt, his blonde hair still wet. He was attractive. I'd always thought that. From the first night we met at that bar near the university, when he'd approached me and my roommate and offered to buy us drinks. He'd seemed genuinely interested in where I was from, what brought me to Copenhagen, what I studied. I'd thought that interest was real. You okay? He sat down on the couch, right next to where his phone lay. I know this is hard. Hard? Like this was some mutual decision we'd both agreed on, like he hadn't orchestrated the whole thing? I'm fine. I picked up the box, holding it against my chest like armor. I'll just grab the last few things from the bedroom. Take your time. He picked up his phone, checking it. His thumb moved across the screen, probably reading the rest of Marcus's messages. He didn't even look guilty. Why would he? He thought I had no idea. In the bedroom, I grabbed my sweater from the closet, my running shoes from under the bed. My vision was blurry. I realized I was crying, silent tears running down my face. I wiped them away roughly. 11 months. We'd been together for 11 months. He'd met my roommates. I'd met his friends, including Marcus, who'd smiled at me and made jokes and acted like I was part of the group. His parents had even video called once when I was there, asking me questions about my home country, seeming interested and kind. Had they known too? Had everyone known except me? I thought about all the times Eric had complimented me, called me beautiful, told me how lucky he was. I thought he meant it. But now those words felt different, condescending, like he was praising a pet, not a girlfriend. She's easy to impress, he'd written. I closed my eyes, gripping the edge of his dresser. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something. I wanted to march back out there and shove his phone in his face and demand an explanation. But I didn't. Instead, I took a long breath, picked up my last box, and walked back to the living room. Eric was scrolling through his phone, still sitting on the couch. He looked up when I entered. Got everything? Yeah. I set the box down near the door, next to the others. 3 boxes. That's all I had here. 11 months reduced to 3 cardboard boxes. I can help you carry these down to your car, he offered. No, I'm good. He stood up anyway, reaching for one of the boxes. His hand brushed against mine. I jerked away. Hey, his voice softened. I know you're upset, but this is for the best. You'll see that eventually. For the best? For him, maybe. He got to have his fun with the exotic immigrant girlfriend, and now he got to go back to his real life. The life where someone like me didn't fit. Did you ever actually care about me? The question came out before I could stop it. He blinked, surprised. Of course I did. I still do. You're an amazing person. But not amazing enough. That's not what I said. Then what are you saying, Eric? He ran his hand through his wet hair, looking uncomfortable. I'm saying that relationships are complicated. Timing matters. You were only supposed to be here for 18 months. I knew that from the beginning. I guess I just didn't expect what? To feel this way when it ended. I almost laughed. He felt bad. Poor Eric, having to break up with the girl he never took seriously in the first place. Right. I grabbed my jacket from the hook by the door. Well, don't worry, you won't have to feel anything for much longer. What's that supposed to mean? I picked up the first box. It means goodbye, Eric. He followed me to the door. Wait, can we at least talk about this properly? Maybe grab coffee next week. Why? I turned to face him, the box heavy in my arms. What would be the point? Because I care about you. Because we spent almost a year together. Because you matter to me. Every word felt like a lie now. I wondered how I'd ever believed him. I'll come back for the other boxes in a minute. I pushed past him into the hallway. My car was parked on the street 3 blocks away. The walk felt longer than usual. Copenhagen was beautiful in early June, all sunshine and cyclists and people sitting at outdoor cafes. I'd fallen in love with this city almost as much as I'd fallen in love with Eric. I'd planned to stay here. I'd actually considered changing my entire life plan to be with him. The job offer was real, a good position at an international marketing firm with visa sponsorship. I'd been so excited when they'd called. I'd rushed to tell Eric, expecting him to be happy for me. Instead, he'd gotten quiet, said he needed to think about things. Broke up with me 2 days later. Now I knew why. I shoved the box into my trunk and walked back to his building. My roommate Sophie had told me I was rushing into things with Eric, that I should be careful, that Scandinavian guys could be hard to read. I'd brushed her off, insisting that Eric was different, that what we had was real. I'd been so stupid. Back at his apartment, Eric had brought the other 2 boxes to the door. I figured I'd help speed things up. Thanks. I took them both, stacking one on top of the other. They weren't heavy. So that's it? He leaned against the doorframe. We're really done? You broke up with me, remember? I know, but I thought maybe we could still be friends. Stay in touch. Stay in touch? So he could feel better about himself? Probably. So he could tell himself he wasn't a bad guy, just someone who'd made a tough decision. I don't think so. His expression shifted, just slightly. Relief, maybe? It was hard to tell. Well, if you change your mind... He trailed off. I almost told him then. Almost said that I'd seen the messages, that I knew exactly what he thought of me. But something held me back. Maybe pride? Maybe I just didn't want to give him the satisfaction of knowing how much he'd hurt me. Goodbye, Eric. I turned toward the stairs. Wait, he caught my arm. Your keys, to the apartment. Right, the keys he'd given me 3 months ago, making a big show of it, saying he wanted me to feel like this was my space too. I dug them out of my pocket and dropped them into his palm. Our hands didn't touch. Take care of yourself, he said. I didn't respond. Just walked down the 3 flights of stairs and out onto the street, my eyes burning. By the time I got back to my apartment, the one I shared with Sophie and another international student named James, I'd managed to stop crying. I parked and sat in the car for a minute, staring at the dashboard. I had a decision to make. The job offer was good, really good. the kind of opportunity that didn't come around often, especially for someone my age. But staying in Copenhagen meant possibly running into Eric, meant living in the same city as someone who'd lied to me for 11 months. The apartment was on the second floor of an old building near Nørrebro. I could hear music playing from somewhere as I climbed the stairs. Sophie's probably. She was always playing music. I unlocked the door and immediately ran into James in the hallway. He was holding a bag of chips, wearing his usual uniform of jeans and a hoodie. "Hey, how'd the packing go?" He paused, looking at my face. "Oh, not great, huh?" "It's fine." "You want to talk about it?" "Not really." He nodded, not pushing. That was one thing I liked about James. He knew when to back off. Sophie emerged from her room, her dark hair piled on top of her head. "You're back! Did you see Eric?" "Yeah." "And?" "And nothing. I got my stuff. It's over." She studied me for a moment, then glanced at James. Some silent communication passed between them. "We're ordering Thai food later," James said. "You should join us." "Maybe." I escaped to my room before they could ask more questions. It was small, just big enough for a bed and a desk and a tiny closet, but it was mine. I decorated it with posters and photos, little pieces of home mixed with new memories from Copenhagen. My phone buzzed. For a second, I thought it might be Eric, but it was my mom, half a world away, asking how I was doing. I stared at the message. I hadn't told my parents about the breakup yet, hadn't told them I was considering staying in Copenhagen either. They'd been supportive of my year abroad, but cautious, worried about me being so far away. If I went home, everything would be easier, familiar, safe, but the thought made my chest tight. I'd built a life here, not just with Eric, but beyond him too. I had friends. I liked my classes. I'd learned to navigate the bus system and find the best coffee shops and order food in Danish. I'd gotten comfortable here. Did I really want to give that up because of one guy? My phone buzzed again. This time it was an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. "Hello?" "Hi, this is Sarah speaking." A woman's voice, professional and warm. "This is Sarah calling from the marketing firm. We wanted to follow up on our offer." My heart jumped. "Oh, yes, hi. We understand you might need more time to decide, but we wanted to let you know that we're really hoping you'll join our team. Your portfolio was impressive, and we think you'd be a great fit." "Thank you. I'm still thinking about it." "Of course. Take all the time you need, but if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out." After she hung up, I sat on my bed, staring at the wall. They wanted me. Not because of who I was dating or where I was from, because of my work, my skills. That had to count for something. A knock on my door interrupted my thoughts. Sophie peeked in. "Hey, can I come in?" "Sure." She sat down next to me on the bed, folding her legs underneath her. "You look like you've been crying." "I'm fine." "You don't have to be fine. Breakups suck." I laughed, but it came out wrong. "Yeah, they do." "Do you want to tell me what happened? You don't have to, but sometimes it helps." I opened my mouth to say no, to brush her off like I'd planned, but then the words started coming out, and I couldn't stop them. I saw messages on his phone, from his friend. They were talking about me. Sophie's expression darkened. "What kind of messages?" "The kind that make it really clear he never took me seriously, that he was just killing time with me until I went home. That asshole. He told his friend that he could never get serious with someone from my background, that I was easy to impress, that the sex was good, but obviously it wasn't going to last." Sophie grabbed my hand. "I'm so sorry." The worst part is that I believed him. When he broke up with me, he said all this stuff about not being sure, about not wanting me to stay for him. I thought he was being thoughtful. Turns out he just wanted me gone. "Did you confront him?" "No, I just left. I didn't say anything about the messages." "Why not?" I shrugged. "I don't know. Pride, maybe? I didn't want to give him the satisfaction." "Screw his satisfaction. He deserves to know you found out what a jerk he is." "Maybe, but what would be the point? It won't change anything." Sophie was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Are you still thinking about taking the job?" "I don't know. I was so sure before, but now you're letting him affect your decision." He was a big part of why I wanted to stay. But not the only part, right? You like it here. You have friends. You have opportunities. Are you really going to let some guy who treated you like garbage drive you away? She was right. I knew she was right. But knowing something and feeling it were two different things. I need to think about it. Fair enough, but for what it's worth, I think you should stay. Not because of Eric, in spite of him. After Sophie left, I lay back on my bed and stared at the ceiling. My phone buzzed with another message. This time, it was from my friend Lisa, another student I'd met in my program. She was asking if I wanted to go to a concert next week. I hadn't told her about the breakup either. Hadn't told anyone, except Sophie, really. The thought of explaining it over and over made me exhausted. But Lisa's message reminded me that I had a life here beyond Eric, friends who had nothing to do with him, places I loved that he'd never shown me. Maybe that was enough. My mind kept drifting back to his phone, to those messages, the casual way he'd discussed me with Marcus. Like I was a problem he'd finally solved. She's easy to impress. That line kept echoing in my head. Had I been easy to impress? Had I been so grateful for his attention that I'd ignored red flags? I thought back through our relationship, looking for signs I'd missed. He'd never introduced me to his family in person, only that one video call. He'd never posted photos of us together on social media, though I had. He'd always been vague about the future, changing the subject when I brought it up. I'd told myself he was just private, that some people didn't like to advertise their relationships. Now I wondered if he'd been keeping me separate from his real life on purpose. My phone rang. Eric's name flashed on the screen. I stared at it, my thumb hovering over the answer button. What did he want? To make sure I was okay? To ease his conscience? I let it go to voicemail. A minute later, a text came through. Hey, I just wanted to check in. Make sure you got home okay. I know things are weird right now, but I hope we can eventually be friends. Friends? As if we'd ever really been that in the first place. I didn't respond. Instead, I pulled up the email from the marketing firm and read through their offer again. The salary was good, better than what I'd make entry-level back home. The position was exactly the kind of work I wanted to do, and it was mine if I wanted it. Not because someone was doing me a favor, not because I was someone's girlfriend, because I'd earned it. I made my decision then. I wasn't sure if it was the right one, but it felt necessary. Like reclaiming something Eric had tried to take from me. I started typing an email to the firm, accepting their offer. My hand shook slightly as I wrote, but I didn't stop. I outlined my start date, thanked them for the opportunity, and hit send before I could second-guess myself. There, done. I was staying in Copenhagen. Not for Eric, for me. The next few days passed in a blur. I threw myself into preparations for the new job, reaching out to HR, sorting out my visa extension, finding a better apartment. Sophie was thrilled when I told her my decision. James, too. They helped me look at listings and offered to help me move. Eric texted twice more. I didn't respond to either message. What was there to say? He'd made his feelings clear, even if he didn't know I'd seen them. A week after the breakup, I ran into Marcus at a cafe near the university. I was picking up coffee before meeting with my new employer to fill out paperwork. He was standing in line, scrolling through his phone. For a second, I considered leaving. But then something inside me shifted. A flash of anger, hot and bright. I walked up to him. Hey, Marcus. He looked up, surprise crossing his face. Oh, hey, how are you? Good, actually. Really good. That's great. Eric mentioned you guys split up. Sorry about that. Are you? He blanked. What? Sorry. Are you actually sorry? I mean, yeah, breakups are hard. I smiled, and it felt sharp. You know what's harder? Finding out your boyfriend never took you seriously, that he was just killing time with you until you left. Marcus's face went pale. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you do. You and Eric had a whole conversation about it, about how he could never get serious with someone like me, about how I was easy to impress. Look, I don't think... I saw the messages, Marcus, on his phone, so you can drop the act. He looked around the cafe, clearly uncomfortable. Other people were starting to notice our conversation. That's between you and Eric, he said finally. You're right, it is. But I wanted you to know that I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying in Copenhagen. I got a great job, actually, so you and Eric are going to have to get used to seeing me around. I didn't wait for his response. Just grabbed my coffee when the barista called my name and walked out, my heart pounding. It felt good, better than I'd expected. That evening, Eric called. Not texted, called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. Hello? Hey, his voice was tight. Can we talk? About what? Marcus said he ran into you today, said you were upset. I laughed, actually laughed. Upset? Is that what he said? Look, I don't know what's going on, but I feel like there's something you're not telling me. There's a lot I'm not telling you, Eric, but then again, you weren't exactly honest with me either. Silence on the other end. Then, carefully, what do you mean? I saw the messages, on your phone, the day I came to get my stuff. You left it on the coffee table and it lit up with a notification from Marcus. More silence. I could practically hear him thinking, trying to figure out what to say. I don't know what you think you saw. I know exactly what I saw. You and Marcus discussing how you were never serious about me, how you were glad I was finally out of the way, how you could never actually date someone from my background long term. Let me explain. Explain what? That you strung me along for almost a year? That you lied to me about why you were breaking up with me? That everything you said was fake? It wasn't fake. My feelings were real. But not real enough, right? Not real enough to actually commit to me. Not real enough to see a future with me. That's not fair. You were only supposed to be here temporarily. I knew that from the start. So that made it okay to treat me like some kind of temporary entertainment? Like I didn't matter? You did matter. You do matter. But not enough. Never enough. He was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was softer. I'm sorry you saw those messages. That's not how I wanted you to find out. Find out what? That you're a coward who couldn't be honest with me? That I handled this badly. I should have been more upfront about my feelings. Your feelings? You mean your lack of feelings? Or your feelings that I wasn't good enough for you? That's not what I said. It's exactly what you said. To Marcus. You just didn't have the guts to say it to my face. I heard him take a breath. You're right. I should have been honest. I should have told you from the beginning that I wasn't looking for something serious. But you didn't. Instead, you let me fall in love with you. You let me think we had a future. And then you dumped me the second I mentioned staying here and made it sound like you were doing me a favor. I'm sorry. You know what? I don't care if you're sorry. I'm done with this conversation. I'm done with you. Wait, please. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but I felt lighter somehow, like I'd been carrying something heavy and finally put it down. My phone immediately started ringing again. Eric. I declined the call. He called twice more. I turned my phone off. Sophie knocked on my door a few minutes later. I heard you on the phone. You okay? Yeah, I confronted him. Told him I knew about the messages. How'd that feel? Good. Really good, actually. She grinned. Good. He deserved it. He tried to apologize, but it was just excuses, like he was the victim in all this. Typical. Guys like that never think they did anything wrong. The thing that kills me is that I really believed him. I thought what we had was real. It probably felt real to you because it was real for you. You loved him. He just didn't love you back the same way. He didn't love me at all. He just liked having me around until it became inconvenient. Sophie sat down on my bed. You know what? Forget him. You've got better things ahead of you. Like what? Like your new job. Like staying in this city that you love. Like proving to yourself that you don't need some guy to validate your worth. She was right. I knew she was right, but it still hurt. Over the next few weeks, I tried to focus on moving forward. I found a new apartment, smaller but in a better location. I started my new job, which was challenging but exciting. My coworkers were friendly, a mix of locals and other internationals. No one asked about my personal life, which was a relief. But I couldn't stop thinking about Eric, about the 11 months we'd spent together, about all the moments I'd treasured that now felt tainted. I kept wondering if there were signs I'd missed, if other people had known what he really thought of me, if his friends had all been laughing behind my back. One night, about a month after the breakup, I was at a bar with Sophie and some friends from work. We were celebrating someone's birthday, drinking too much and laughing too loud. It felt good to be out, to be social, to pretend everything was fine. And then I saw him, Eric, across the bar, standing with a group of people I didn't recognize. He hadn't seen me yet. My first instinct was to leave, but then I remembered what I'd told Marcus, that I wasn't going anywhere, that this was my city too now. That's him, isn't it? Sophie had followed my gaze. Your ex. Yeah. You want to go somewhere else? No, why should I? That's my girl. She squeezed my hand. I turned my back to Eric, focusing on my friends, on the conversation, on anything else. But I was hyper aware of his presence, wondering if he'd noticed me, wondering if he'd come over. About 20 minutes later, I went to the bar to order another drink, and there he was, suddenly standing next to me. Hey, Eric said, I didn't expect to see you here. It's a public bar. Right, yeah, you look good. I didn't respond, just waited for the bartender to take my order. How's the new job going? He asked. Great, actually, really great. That's good. I'm glad things worked out for you. I finally looked at him, really looked at him. He was still attractive, still had that easy confidence. But I didn't feel anything. No anger, no hurt, just nothing. Are you? I asked. Glad? Of course. I never wanted things to end badly between us. They didn't end badly, Eric. They ended exactly how you wanted them to. He flinched. I know you're angry. I'm not angry. I'm just done. With you, with this conversation, with pretending any of it mattered. The bartender came over and I ordered my drink, paid, and started to walk away. Wait, Eric caught my arm. Can we please talk? Really talk? I pulled my arm free. There's nothing left to say. You made your choice. You got what you wanted. Now let me go. I didn't want this. I didn't want to hurt you. But you did. And you know what? I'm okay now. Better than okay. So you can stop feeling guilty or whatever this is. I don't need your apology or your explanations. I just need you to leave me alone. I walked back to my friends, my heart pounding. Sophie gave me a questioning look and I nodded. I was okay. I really was. Eric didn't approach me again that night. I saw him leave about an hour later, glancing in my direction once before walking out. And that was it. No dramatic confrontation, no big emotional scene. Just closure, I guess. In the months that followed, I settled into my new life. I made new friends at work. I explored parts of the city I'd never seen before. I went on a few dates, nothing serious, but it was nice to know I could, that I was desirable, that Eric hadn't ruined me for other people. I still thought about him sometimes, usually late at night when I couldn't sleep, but the thoughts were different now. Less painful, more analytical. I wondered what he'd seen in me, if anything. I wondered if he ever regretted how things ended. I wondered if he'd learned anything. Mostly, though, I thought about myself, about the girl who'd been so eager for love that she'd missed all the warning signs, about how desperate I'd been to belong, to be chosen, to be enough. I wasn't that girl anymore. The breakup had changed me, but not in the way Eric probably thought. I hadn't become bitter or closed off. I'd become stronger, more certain of my own worth. 6 months after the breakup, I got promoted at work. My boss called me into her office and told me they were impressed with my performance, that they wanted to give me more responsibility, more money too. I called my parents that night to tell them. They were thrilled, proud. My mom asked if I was happy, and I realized I was. Genuinely happy, in a way I hadn't been even when I was with Eric, because this happiness was mine. I'd built it myself. No one could take it away. I never saw Eric again after that night at the bar. Copenhagen is a big city, easy to avoid people if you want to. Sometimes I wondered if he thought about me, if he ever regretted what he'd done, if he'd told his next girlfriend the truth, or if he'd played the same game all over again. It didn't matter, really. He was part of my past now, a chapter that had closed, and I was writing new chapters, better ones, where I was the hero of my own story, not someone's temporary girlfriend, not someone's exotic experiment, just me, building the life I wanted on my own terms. That was enough. More than enough. It was everything. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever discovered someone you loved saw you completely differently than you thought?